Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, whatever time you are privileged to watch this tutorial video. So I'll be taking us on color grading. And what is color grading? Color grading basically has to do with you enhancing your picture, the creativity of the picture. Color grading basically is the work done in the post-production process. Like in the post-production process, after you've taken your image, you just want to enhance it, and then it also determines what you want to achieve with your picture. Like this kind of picture now, what I wanted to achieve with this kind of picture, since it's an outdoor picture, is to make it, give it a kind of bright, give it something like, give it like a kind of bright look, and not making it look too cool since it's an outdoor picture. And then even the pose of the person there. And if I want to achieve like an olden days kind of picture, the color grading will entirely be different. So let's move into how to move in our pictures to Photoshop. Basically, so there are different ways to move in your pictures to Photoshop. Into Photoshop. It is either you drag the picture in like this, or you right click on the picture. You see open with, say, Adobe Photoshop 2025, you can go and click it, or you come to Photoshop directly, and then you go to files. To file, you see open. When you see open, it will take you to your files, and the way I want to work on is on tutorial. That's the folder. So I'm going to pick the image I want to work on. So the image I want to work on is a raw picture. Since it's a raw picture, explanation of raw and then JPEG. When you take with a camera, there's a way you can set that it will take the raw, it will have the setting of the raw image and then a JPEG. Let's not go into that. So the picture I want to work on is the raw picture. So when I open it, it will take me directly to camera raw. And what I want to teach us is color grading, basically using camera raw. You can find something like this also on Lightroom, basically using camera raw. So in the case that your picture is not a raw picture, there's a way you can also open camera raw. And then this is it. You come to filter. Okay, this I'm coming. I want to reset the workspace into photography. So you make sure that it's on a layer. So you come to filter, and then you open camera raw. It will take you directly to camera raw. But this is not the picture I want to work on. Make sure that immediately after you move your picture to Photoshop, you duplicate. So you get it. And one way to duplicate is Ctrl J. It will duplicate. So to what we want to do specifically. So this is file, open, then the raw picture, then I open it. So this is I'm going to split the picture to before and then after. You know that it is still bare like this. I've not done any work. So under light, I have my exposure. And then what does exposure? Exposure has to do with the overall brightness and darkness of the image. So if I want the image to be dark overall, when I say overall brightness and darkness of the image, I want it to be bright a bit. I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm taking my exposure to 20. And then when I'm talking about contrast are just the difference in brightness between light and dark areas. When I'm talking about light and dark areas, there's something in photography that we call dodge and burn. And we call, okay, let me not bore you. There's something we call the highlight of the image. Let me zoom in so that you can see what I'm saying. There's something we call the highlight. You see this place that I'm using my mouse to touch. Let me zoom out a bit to 12%. You see this place, all this place, they are the highlights. You see all these dark areas, they are like the shadows. So what contrast basically does is that it has the way of, if you take it to the back, it will make the highlights, like it will make the picture flat, like it will make all those dark areas go away. But if you move it forward, you see that all those dark areas are popping out. But I don't want it to be too much. Sure, you get it? I do not want it to be too much, in as much as I want those dark areas to come out to bring me a perfect look. So I'll be putting it to 23. Okay, I do not want it to be too much. Let's leave it on 21. So I don't want it to be much. Let's zoom out now. To 6%. And so when I'm now working on my highlight has to do with bright parts of the image. In this image, if you want it to be, I mentioned about the highlights, all this place, all this bright part. If I want them to pop out well, I'm going to drag the highlights. But I do not want them to pop out too much. In as much as I also want them to pop out. I do not want them to pop out too much. So I'm going to leave the highlights to 45. I'm going to leave the highlights to 45. So the shadows has to do with darkest part of your image. So if I drag it, you see, okay, let me show you what just happened. You see that the background, you see, I'm taking away the highlights. It's like this picture is like a picture taken in the cool of the evening, like. But if I take it back, you see that shadows is making the picture dark. Firstly, let me give photo credit. This picture was not taken by me. It was one of the a picture used for a challenge online. It's one of the pictures used for a challenge online that I'm using. This is not my own personal picture, so that's to give credit to the owner of the picture. So this is one of the picture that was used for a challenge online. So I do not want the picture to be too dark, in as much as I want shadow, but I do not want it to be too. So when I'm talking about white, the white, like the name implies, the white in the image will come as, but nah, I don't want it to be too much. So as a photo editor, you don't want too much and too much. So you get it. So also my blacks too, it says the black point, you see, but no, I do not want it. I can just give my black -5. So let's move directly to color mixer. So this is how it looks like. You open and then you close. So my color mixer, we have all, we have luminance, we have saturation, we have E. So let me start with what luminance means. Yes, luminance has to do with, it dictates how light or dark. When you say luminance, it's like as if it's taken from the word illumination. So luminance has to do with how dark or bright the color is on the image. How dark. So when I'm talking about saturation, we are talking about the thickness of the color, vivid, the richness of the color. How rich is the color? How rich do you want the color to be on your image? So, and then when we're not talking about hue changes the actual shade of the color or identity of the color to a color that is closer to it on the color wheel. You see that hue now, we have something like yellow here, we have something like red. Yes, we have something like purple on the other side, purple or pink on the other side. It changes the color to a color that is closer on the color. You can see that our lipstick is changing because of hue. So let's do a quick color grading on it. So I'll start with luminance. That has to do with the brightness. So you remember how bright or dark. So I do not want our lipstick to be too dark. So I'm going to give it a little bit of luminance. Red, that's about 20%. So I even like to zoom in so that I can see what I'm doing well. I would like to zoom in so that I can see what I'm doing well. From that, I can see what I'm saying. You can see, but I don't want our lipstick to be too dark. So I'm going to make it light. So we know that on the face, there are some colors that, even if you are white, if you are black, there are some colors that you will surely find on woman's skin. One of it is red, one of it is yellow. One of those two colors, there's no way on a woman's skin, you will always find it there. So is that I can, if I give her orange, no, it has already integrated the image. That's not what I want to achieve. So I'm just going to give her +1 for orange, make it bright a bit. For the yellows, do I want her yellow to be cool? You know, she's omokopa normally, so I have to make sure that she is a bright tone because of the color of her skin. And when you are doing this, you are making sure that it depends on the color of the skin. So that's why setting is always different for every picture. It depends on the color of the skin. Settings are always different for every picture. It depends on the color of the skin. So moving to my green, is there any green in this image? Obviously there's green in the background. Do I want the green to be light? Yes, I want the green to be light. I don't want it to be. So is there any aquas? The way you drag, you used to know. We don't really have a lot of something that look like aquas, something that look like all this sea blue stuff. So I will not touch much on that. Okay, we don't have anything that has to do with blue. But if I am to touch purple, you know that there's at least a purple and magenta. See the way the beads are changing. So I do not want the purple to be too light. I want them to have a darker shade, and then the magenta. So I want the magenta to have like a darker shade in the luminance. So let's go to the saturation. Remember saturation, how rich you want the color to be. Let's see something. That's too much. That's out of it. So I'm saturating the image. Let me give her 18. Orange, it is too much, but it should not be too much. See, it's going to be flat. Meanwhile, this is not what I want to achieve with the image. Yeah, assuming this is what I wanted to achieve with the image, I'm going to leave it like that. But this is not what I want to achieve with the image. So I'm going to add orange because it's also part of skin color. Now, let me give her 15 for orange. I don't want it to be too much. Let's do 13. So for yellow, If I minus it completely, you see that there are some parts in her body that is looking too white. Meanwhile, that's not how it is supposed to be. Since we know that she's Omopupa, we are going to give her yellow. Forgive me for using Omopupa. So green, we can basically find green in the background. Meanwhile, if this is what I wanted to achieve with the image, I want to kill the whole green on the image. I will drag it back so that it will just look like as if she's on a black and white background that you took the picture or something like that. But I want the green to be there. I want the nature to be part of the image. So I'm going to add more saturation, more richness to the green. So aquas, you can hardly find aquas. So blues, there are not a lot of blue on this one. Maybe I will still add, because if you check, they are still okay. There are not a lot of. When we're talking about the purple, see, you know that if you drag this one, you will see something, but we don't want it to be too shiny. It will look kind of off that. She get it. Magentas too, I'll add a little bit of saturation. I'll make it more rich, the color more rich. 6 is okay. I don't want it to be too much. Remember, when we're talking about hue, it moves the color to the color closest on the color wheel. There's something called color wheel, but let me not bore you with that. It is red, but that's not what I want to achieve. That's not the initial color of a lipstick. I just changed it to something like purple or so. But I'm not. That's not what. So I'm taking it to this side. I want the lipstick to be red, that red shade. So that's what I'm leaving it as. Let me give her 10. So to the orange, what do I want to achieve? Do I want that to be 2? No. I want to retain that natural color. So what about this? It's moving to something like green, but we don't have a lot of green, but I'm still dealing with her color now, and she know that she's light in complexion, so I have to just give her a 35. We are not doing too much work. We are just trying to check to achieve something. Remember, I already killed the green on the background again. Meanwhile, I still want that natural color of nature. I don't want it to be too much at the back. These are the things that make a picture beautiful, and you sit online and you be like, wow, what did they do to this picture? So aquas, I'm moving the aquas to that green kind of. I don't want it to be too, but I want that natural green, that nature green. So remember, I told you there are not a lot of blue on the image, but there is purple. See, if I want to lighten the whole bead and make it look like as if it's not the original color, there's a way I can lighten it. I'll just look for a way to just reduce all this thing and then go back. You see, it's already taking another color, but that's not what I want to achieve. So I'm going to add magenta. The purple, I'm still retaining the purple color for the beads, but not too much. I think this one is okay. Can you see the difference between the before and the after? Let me zoom in to something like 12%. See the before. This is the before. See the before of the image compared to the after. Which one will you go for? Will you go for the before or the after? So that's basically how to do the color grading on Photoshop camera. So I open the image and then it loads in into Photoshop. So after I load it into Photoshop, remember, first thing you do before you do anything in Photoshop is to duplicate. So that's the end of my the video.